This time here, Yerushalmi Shekalim. The article Oz edition we're on Daf Samach Aleph Amud Aleph, the second line Hashkalim Kachu, which in the Vilna is Vilna Yerushalmi is on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph, and the Vilna Bavli Yerushalmi is on Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph, and it is there's actually a header in the Bavli Yerushalmi, which is 3, 6, 8 lines about him. It's going back on the Mishnah, where it said, "It's going to be Kurim Harei Kodesh, Hashem be Kurim Kodesh, Einon Kodesh." So that was the Mishnah. Of course, it said that Bikurim are not Kodesh. We have it as Omer Bikurim Kodesh, Einon Kodesh. I read that wrong. Omer Bikurim Kodesh, Einon Kodesh. They're not Kodesh, but Shekalim are Kodesh. That's what Gemara infers over here. So Gemara says, Shekalim Kachu. The Shekalim is the one that are Kodesh. Interesting. It says, Murder Shimon Im Omer Bikurim Kodesh and Kodesh. That seems to be a typo. There's the same thing in the Vilna. Let's say here. Yeah, it's the same thing, but that is clearly a typo. Okay, because I was supposed to say Hashkalim Kachu. It's going on Shekalim. Shekalim are called Kodesh, and the Talmud Chaytin says Hashkalim Kachu. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda says in Rabbi Shimon that ben elu lo Kachu. No, even Shekalim are not Kodesh. So again, since the type of the Korban Eidah, it says ben elu Kachu. Even Shekalim is not Kodesh according to Rabbi Shimon, even though the Mishnah only mentioned Bikurim. Also, it's true about Kodesh as well, about Shekalim as well. Why not? That's something which we'll see. Okay, so Tani, we learned Hager b'zman hazeh. The Hager in our day and age, B'tzarech lavi kino rivas kesed. The halacha is a Hager when he's Megayer has to bring a set of birds, two Torim or two Bnei Yonah for a Korban Oila. So b'zman hazeh, that he can't bring the Korbanos, he has to set aside a riva of kesef, the measure of money with which he would buy the birds. Rabbi Shimon said, "Bitla Rabbi Yochanan mina hatakana." Sorry, Bitla Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai mina hatakola. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was said not to do it because of takola, because you might come to be nana from the money. Forget that you set aside for the korban. Be nana from it, or be from milah. Gemara explains that's what is this? What is this Mignei Takala? Because at the time we learned in Magdishin, we don't make anything hektish below Marichin, and we don't make anything into Erchin. Right? To what do you say? A certain value of person should be upon me. Below Machrimin, we don't make things chen, which are Kodesh. There are two types of Charamim: the Charmei Berek Habayis and Charmei Kohanim. But even Charmei Kohanim, we don't do Bezman Hazeh. Although this is an issue which is discussed in the article, Note 13 at some length, that there are perhaps only Charmei Berek Habayis should apply to, or there's also by the Charmei Kohanim, because Charmei Kohanim, until they're given to the Kohen, they also have a status of Kodesh. So therefore, they can apply to both the Charamim of Charmei Berek Habayis and Charmei Kohanim. And here it says one distinguish it seems to be applying to both. Again, it's an issue of Rishonim. Rashi seems to hold that no, it's specifically applies to Charmei Berek Habayis, and Taisus holds it applies to Charmei Kohanim as well. Now the next line everybody takes out because it's not true. For Lo Magrin Trumas the Gra takes it out. The Chaytim, of course, takes it out. Chaim takes it out. The article takes it out, and I assume the others would take it out as well. Although I don't see everybody speaks about it. So v'im hikdish or hechrim. What if you did make something hektish or herich or hechrim or ikbia, or in this case also the Gra takes out the ikbia, because obviously you do take off chumas and ma'asim b'zman hazeh. Haksus, if it is a garment tisarei which be burnt. Habehema te'akir, if it's an animal, it's got to be starved to death. How does that work? Ketza no b'fanei adelis, you lock it in front of the door, v'mesa me'aleh, and it dies in its own. Vamos yelchu yam hamelech, and the money, if there's money, you should go to yam hamelech, meaning you should eliminate it. So they have to make sure to deal with it properly. It's the Offer Yerushalmi, my cousin brings down that the Bavli, it says the ksus also, like peros and kalim, should rot. So the Torah's Chaim, but the Zohar Daf Gimel says it's part of Yerushalmi is that since clothing does not rot in a short amount of time like fruit, and you might only letakolo, so therefore you should burn it, even though of course the best going kachim by doing a ma'aser, then best to burn it in order to avoid being over in the long run on meila. Now, since it says here, over v'hikdish, if you buy were makdish, so min ma'adam Rabbi Shimon bitlo Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, so the Yochanan Zakkai said don't do it. In the Akakola hadamar over v'hikdish kitchu. Sounds like that it is Kodesh, not like Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, right? Because it sounds like all these things we shouldn't do it, but if we did it, of Rabbi Hikdish, whether it's in our case of the ger, the ger is makdish the money for the ken, or in our case of Shekalim would be the same thing. It sounds like it is Kodesh, right? The Amra of Rabbi Hikdishu Hikdishu. So there's a kasha of Shem Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda and Dutaya Boikum Rabbi Yossi Hacham Marakichu. By these cases over here, Magbi and Magdishim Marichem Machrin, and by extension by the Korban Ager, it's the Eved. It is Kodesh. V'cham Marlokichu, and here by the Shekalim, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda says it's not Kodesh. So it's a contradiction. What do we do, right? Yeah, that's why the question according to Shem Yehuda says by Shekalim not Kodesh, but according to Shem Yehuda it's difficult. Why it's not Kodesh? It should be. Shouldn't have done it, but if he did it, it should be effective. I want to read the Tag Charatin. It might be a bit superfluous, but it makes it a little bit clearer, sharper. How come Lokitchu Hainu b'Shekalim b'Shem ben Yehuda libra b'Shimon? The Gam b'Shekalim is related the Lokitchu of the Eved. The heels by Shekalim it's not Kodesh in the Eved, not like everything we just learned. Mikurim lo kasha. From Mikurim it's not difficult. Mishum the imit le Mikra, that there's a special here's custom. Lo chalei shem Mikurim klau, because it has to be. We mentioned in the Mishnah when we mentioned the pasuk which says that Tavi beis Hashem. Ain't shem Mikurim chalei shlo b'fnei abayis. So it's called for Kodesh, but Kodesh later. If it's not b'fnei, if there's no beis Hashem, they're not Kodesh. The Havashkolim is talking about Shum Takola Gankin. But we assume that the issue is like Midei Takola, just like the with the money again. Can't a mile country with the Evan. Kamor Vias Shogir, just like the Revius of the Ger. So I'm going to go here now in the next Gemara with the Girsa of the Gra, which again Reb Chaim goes with, and even the Hard Scroll goes with it. The Hard Scrolls change and the Gra's change are slightly different. So Amar Lei, so he said, Rabbi Yosef said to Rabbi Yehuda and Dutaria, Tamon there, and the words he takes out are the words which we have in the at least in the article. The words L'chein Magdish Chachliya V'Shem Mitzvah Hakim B'Tshuma Chadasha V'Hei Chava Le'Yishana V'Acha Ma'israch Meimar HaYishana Hi. All those words to the end of the Amar and Samach Alf Amar Alf, the Gra takes out. And again, as I said, well, the other Mepharshim takeouts as well. So the Gersa instead is Taman Ein Mekadesh, and I'm going to be talking Charatin. This is the reason Kodesh not Kodesh. Ichar Tam Ein Lak Ishkom Mitzvah Hazeh. Primary reason not there's not supposed to be not Ishkom Mitzvah Hazeh Mishum She'en Mikdash, because there's no mikdash. And there's no shem hekdesh on the Shkolim. Even the base is built, because they're not going to come to hekdesh. So maybe leave around till Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because maybe that base should be built. Much because they be Chodesh or Rishon B'Chukam Mishkan. The site was built in the Midbar in Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Consequently, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. The Ditorim Trumas Alish come Chodesh, and then Trumas Alish come Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh Nisan cloud, but then a shekel which we were sanctified beforehand will not be suitable because it's going to be a shana. It's not a kind of question of takola. It's a question of Truma Yeshana. It's tackling atikin to begin with, right? If you want a base hamikdash, even the base hamikdash will be built. It won't be kadosh because it's from last year. Therefore, doesn't take effect. Is what it says in the Tosefta. Time in the Inshka Noi was on a Zem Truma Yeshana because it's going to be Truma Yeshana. Mashkein Hocha B'Revius Agir, as opposed to the money for the carbon Agir. The hektish chalal, the hektish takes a bit. Shana base hamikdash, there's no time issue, right? The base hamikdash is built way rova dinar shel korban. It's suitable. Rak the butler, Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, it was just Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai said not to do it. Maybe takola, like the so therefore you shouldn't be makshit deliberately. For the last time of takola, the rationale of a takola, however, doesn't come Shem Hektish, and it doesn't come to remove the Shem Hektish. Now let's read the Gra's Girsa inside. And the truth is that the Gra changes it almost to the very end of the Masechta. So it really doesn't just stop at the bottom of Samach Avam Rav in the art scroll, but goes on to change the Girsa Samach Avam base. Although parts of it you can put in, you can fit in, but once we're taking it out, we'll go with the Gra's Girsa, and the Gra's Girsa is as follows. Taman Emekadish v'yoniach ad shibana beis hamikdash. There, by Shkolim, you can't say leave it until the beis hamikdash is built. Shem yibana beis barishon. May the beis hamikdash is going to be built on Aleph Nisan. The time Truma Salishka min Chodesh Bizmana Becha ben Nisan, and the Truma will come min HaChodesh. And our Gemara says min HaChodesh, min HaChodesh from the. You can also say the Chodesh. Don't be. That the article doesn't change. It has to be brought from the new Truma. So therefore, every Amakdish prior to the new Truma is null and void, right? There won't be karbanos from it. Since it won't be karbanos from it, so therefore they nullified it. Okay, so the but here by the Rova Ken of the Rova of Kesef for the Ken of the Ger and all other Hekdeshus and Harachos, there is no time limit, right? It can be any time. So therefore, there's no reason to say it's not Hekdesh just because you were Makdish it, so to speak, early. Okay, it's still Hekdesh. Lamaisa, this is difficult, as the article points out, because we said earlier in Masechta you could bring the karbanos from the Truma Yeshana if you haven't yet gathered together the Truma Chadasha. If there's in funds of Beis Hamikdash Rosh Nisan, they still bring from the Truma from last year's, from the Taklin Atikin. Normally, if a person's Makdish Taklin Atikin, Taka doesn't go to karbanos. But if there's no money, so they're bringing from last year. So why shouldn't be kadosh? Because it's a scenario that you would bring from last year's, or for that matter, let it be kadosh as taklin atikin, right? And let it be brought for bedeka bayis or for the chamos Yerushalmi, whatever you would want to bring it for. But why should not be hektish whatsoever? So it's a question, very, very good question. Of course, there is samech, which is referenced by the article and or for Yerushalmi. It says in Hilchos Ma'aser Karbanos Perek Yudzayin Halacha Yud, the reason Shaloi is not if Gederach HaMisnadvim. It's an additional issue here that this is not. It's not normal to be menade for a Truma Yeshana with no Beis Hamikdash. Yes, if there is Takin Chadatin, you can also be menade for Takin Atikin. And of course, you could if the money was left over and no new money has come in yet, you could still bring from the Truma Yeshana. But there, the person gave for Takin Chadatin. It's just the time passed, we still need it, we'll use it. Or, for alternative, like I said, if you give a takin atikin when there was takin chadatin, of course you can give a takin atikin. But here we're talking about a case where there is it's not misnadvik, because you're misnadvik before there is altogether a budget that it should be for the budget of the Beis Hamikdash. That is l'kadech misnadvik, and that doesn't work. That's Lashon Sameach. Again, as I said in Perek Yitzayin Halacha Yud. Okay, so that's again, it's not just a flaw that it's Truma Yishana, because Truma Yishana we can't use, but rather Shaloi Snai Derech Misnadvim, and therefore it's null and void. But the Gemara says that in terms of the halacha, Rav Ada and Rav Himnuna, Rav Ada, Ba'achva, Shem Rab, all said halacha is Rabbi Shimon and Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon and Mishnah, who says by Bikurim it's not Kodesh, but by Shekalim it is Kodesh, and therefore all that we said just now, it's a difficult svara, but it's not halacha. So therefore, it shouldn't bother us that much. And the final analysis. That's what Takin Chadatin says. Masisim yikurim lo kachu, v'shkalim kachi, v'chaykinu shor kachu. However, the Chaim takes out this whole last line, and evidently there's a whole discussion here in the article about whether it means something else. But I think that actually is the halacha l'maisa. Then therefore, as we said yesterday, a person has to be careful to say zechel machzis shekel, not that something actually be shemachzis shekel. Mazel tov on the completion of Shekalim.